that wears into you over time. But you don't phase Eric Dixon. You don't speed him up. He's not going to let one play impact him. I've always had great respect for him and thought he was a heck of a player. I'm not sure I ever thought he was an NBA player until this year. Like, he just added so much to his game. A couple of those shots he hit with Jason, hanging all over him. He's become an unbelievable shot maker, and analytically, I think he was shooting 72% on pick and pop threes in the year. Like, that is ridiculous. When you make a mistake, you pay for it, and we made him work for 27. I thought Jason was ready.
Mac, on the post-game radio show after Georgetown, I think you and Jackson both said that the offensive assertiveness was embarrassing. What caused for such a drastic turnaround in only a few days?
I mean, it's basketball, and you've heard me say this before. If you pay attention, it's a long season, and you'd love to have your A game every single time. But the reality of it is, you're probably going to have 10 or 11 games where you don't play great, and you hope you find a way to win. And you're going to have 10 or 11 games where you're like, I would love to bottle that up and have that every single time, but that's probably not reality either. And then you're going to have 10 or 11 where you just kind of play okay, and hopefully it's good enough to win. It's such a thin line, and the Georgetown game looks really lopsided, but we gave them 12 points on dunks on turnovers, and that's 6 possessions we didn't have a chance to score. So let's say we score on 3 of them. Well, now it's an 18-point swing that you've just handed them. And if you do that in this league, you're asking for trouble. And so a game can get lopsided in a hurry. And we couldn't stop the bleeding in that game for whatever reason. And I thought this afternoon we were just more locked in, even though they made some very difficult shots. To slow down Eric Dixon, you have to give up something. And some of those mid-ranges we were willing to give up. And to their credit, they made him, and Brickus got off to a great start against Steven, and then we put more size on him with Jemiah, and I thought Jemiah played a great game on both ends of the floor this afternoon.
I only had 8 assists on 32 baskets. I mean, obviously you don't want them to make shots, but if you're going to make them make shots, make the one limit. That's what you're kind of trying to do.
The assist count. Obviously we didn't force any turnovers, and they're a hard team to force into turnovers because they're very ball control oriented, and they do a good job. Their spacing's incredible. So we didn't want them to make easy plays. One more passes, or even when we doubled Dixon, we wanted to try to fly around and make him make an extra pass. That 22 assists, 8 assists, it just the offenses are operating differently, and they both can be successful, especially when you got Eric Dixon on the other side, because he can make plays with the ball without an assist. But we created a lot of offense with our ball movement tonight.
Matt talked about what kind of a boost having Fedor back. I mean, we've asked you about it so much to finally now have him. What can that do for this team?
Yeah, I mean, he's a long ways. And I compared a little bit to the Alex O'Connell situation a few years ago when all of a sudden they made transfers immediately eligible. He hadn't prepped at all with the top team, and all of a sudden you're thrown into it. And Fedor's training has been different. He's been lifting with Jeremy 4 days a week versus 2 like the rest of the guys. It's all scout team stuff. He's not really been held accountable to learn our offense because, as Fedor said, we didn't think this day was coming this year. So now we got to ramp it up and try to catch him up and get him in game shape. And fortunately, we have the 10-day break where he's going to be able to do some conditioning and get in shape. We play a couple games, and then we have another 8-day break where we have 4 or 5 practices. Where hopefully we can catch him up and he can be an important contributor, rotational guy for us, because he can't handle it, he can pass it, he can shoot it. He's just got to learn what the heck's going on, and that's gonna take a little time. But his teammates were. When I told them today, they were incredibly excited for him. They know it's been a long, drawn-out process for him, and frustrating. When you're half the world away from your family and you're dealing with bad news after bad news after bad news. It was good to see him smile today.
Has it felt that long for you?
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, you kind of, you almost kind of compartmentalize, and I've got to get the group ready that's available to me, and at the same time, working every day with whatever we needed to do to try to inch this process along. And Matt Stolberg and Megan in our compliance office put in a lot of hours, and Coach Miller's been heavily involved, with our attorney and with Fedor's family's attorney. And there's been a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of phone calls leading up to today being a reality. So, hats off to our compliance group and Coach Miller for a lot of great work to make today happen.
I know your answer might be different once you watch it back, but just when you think about the ball security today and, the way you're able to make plays, get good shots up, what do you think was the point of growth, I guess?
Yeah, I hope we're getting better. We didn't go quite as deep on the bench today. We left some of these guys out there. Unfortunately, with Villanova, they don't foul a lot, we don't foul a lot, so foul trouble wasn't really an issue till, Jemiah got his third, I think, with 8.5 minutes to go, and we sat him for a minute. But, we were able to, kind of keep the ball in the right people's hands, and we made good decisions. We didn't get rushed, and I thought Georgetown at times we got a little antsy and tried to maybe throw some passes that weren't quite there, and we handled Villanova switching really well, because it's hard to simulate in practice because of the length they have out there.
Stephen had a career high 11 assists today. What was it about him operating the offense specifically?
Yeah, he's been terrific all year, and we won't realize, and I've said this with some other guys that have played for us, until he's gone, you don't realize the impact he has. Or just go back and watch San Diego State game, and you realize what's missing when he's not out there. Like he's an incredible leader, and never allows what's happening with him personally to impact his ability to lead his teammates. And that's where Kalk and I had to have a talk after Georgetown, because he was disappointed in the way he played, but his role's bigger than just how he plays now. He's a fifth-year senior, and he's got some young guys that got some deer in the headlights looks once in a while, and they're looking at him, and they need to see confidence in his face. And he, to his credit, he really flipped that switch in preparation for this game.
Two more for Coach.
Jemiah had a career high 6 threes tonight. What's gone into his, shooting, like better shooting?
Yeah, he works with Trey Ziegler every day after practice, and whether he wants to or not, we're making sure that he is, because people they're not guarding him, or they're going under screens, and he's got to make him pay for that. He shot good ones. Obviously, the one he hit late in the game was a tough one where he rose up. But when he had open ones, he knocked them down, and Steven has the confidence to make that one more pass to him, and we're going to need Jemiah to be a force for us offensively. And as much as I like the shooting, the 6 assists and no turnovers is makes me even sleep better.
All things considered, how valuable are the next 10 days for you guys before you kind of get going?
Yeah, we're going to practice tomorrow, and then Monday morning we'll do some conditioning and some review and just some workouts, and then let him go home until the 27th, and then we'll come back and have him here 27, 28, 29, 30 in preparation for St. John's. So we'll get 4 good days of work. And there's some bumps and bruises still that we're fighting through. Steven's not totally 100%. I think this will allow him by December 31st to be back full go. And it'll be good for us to try to, fast track Fedor the best we can, just to try to figure out what role that he's going to be able to play as we move forward.
Thank you, Coach.